Is it? Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Faith Place Bible Institute Sunday School edition. Oh, it's still going. Oh, okay. Welcome to the last Sunday of 2024. Out with the old and in with the new. Gosh, that is something to think about. It's the last Sunday of 2024, last Sunday of the year. So you can say, okay, I'll talk to you next year. Well, I want to talk about basically that, out with the old, in with the new. What plans do you have for next year? Do you believe in New Year's resolutions? As we say goodbye to 2024, let us take a moment or two to do a self-assessment. I talk about self-assessments all the time, so that's nothing new. It's a private thing that you just have within yourself, and I suggest that you include God in it so he can help you see you and to see you how he sees you, because that might be two different things. And that'll give you a guide on things that you need to work on, need to change. I talk about, I had this class when I was an undergrad, and the first few weeks, good morning, Sister Hines, we had to do a self-assessment. And we had to be thorough. We need to know who we were before we were allowed to speak with, quote, patients, but there was first-year students who volunteered to be our subjects. And we needed to know, you might not be a people person. You might, you get to know who you are so that you can make adjustments within yourself when you are speaking with these people. And so that you won't get in the way of the work that needs to be done. And with this, so that you won't get in the way of the work God has for you and the work that you might want to do for yourself. So it's a very private thing that you'll be doing, so you can be extremely honest with yourself. Own it, own it, because you can only change what you're willing to acknowledge and accept. So, like I said, include God in this, because he will help you do this. He will help you understand. He knows and understands you better than anyone, including you. Take ownership of who you are, not just the negative issues you may carry, because people are so quick to talk about or see the negative of themselves, but also acknowledge the positive things that's in you, the good that you are, the good that you've done, and your accomplishments. Acknowledging of the accomplishments that you have made in your life, because that's a good thing. See it all and own it all. Ask yourself, are you where you want to be? Are you satisfied with your life thus far? Do you hold any negativity in your heart? That is very important, because to have peace, that's something that you cannot hold inside of your heart. Do you have any unforgiveness towards anyone? We've talked about that through the year, unforgiveness and to forgive. You have hate towards others. Now, being in Christ, we don't harbor hate, but there's also self-hate, unhealed trauma. Gotta go there. Degrees in psychology, gotta go there. These are only a few that you may see during your self-assessment, but that is a good thing, because you can only fix or change or seek help for those that you acknowledge. You can choose this time to enter into a new year to let go of the hurt, the pain, issues you do not want to carry into the new year. You can decide, this is the deciding moment, how you want next year to be. Do you want to just keep on doing the same thing, the same old, same old. I have a lot of things that I want to make some adjustments in my life. So you can take this time to care for you. We have a tendency to take care of everybody else, and this is something that I had to acknowledge in one of my self-assessments, that I don't take care of myself as much as I should. Give it all to God and start fresh. The idea of letting go and letting God is about surrendering control and trusting in God's plan for your life. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. God knows the plan he has for you. That's in Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans for prosperity and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. Then you will call upon me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. That is important. You need to acknowledge all of it, the good, the bad, the ugly. And, not everybody's bad. My mother used to say, every kid isn't bad. Some of them just might need a little extra love that they may not be getting. So, own your stuff. Hi, Mitzi. Good morning. According to Your Purpose is Your Superpower by Elder Henry L. Razor, everyone has a purpose. Elder Razor states in his book that the very fact that everyone has a purpose should be acknowledged, accepted, and understood without fail. For obviously there is a reason that everyone is here on earth, but this statement needs to be taken even further because according to the Bible, everyone has a divine purpose. What is yours? Are you walking in your purpose? You might be, and that's a wonderful thing if you are. God bless. Because so many of us are not, and we have to own and acknowledge that, okay, what am I doing with myself? In Matthew, Mark, and Luke, the Bible speaks about not pouring new wine in old wineskins. Take this moment to work with God to become the person ready to walk in your purpose. Because if you're placed in the position where you're needed in God's kingdom, but you have not done the work and you're carrying things that you should let go, you won't be ready to perform. Just like if you took a class and you go to class and you didn't do the study, how you going to take that sitting through the class and answer the questions that the teacher may have or be involved in a discussion? Yeah. Or even, God forbid, if you didn't study and you have a test in class. So you have to do the work ahead of it. And it's for you, not for anyone else. It's for you. Because if you know that you're walking in your purpose, in your best self that God is using, that is a good thing. And it's something that you hold in your heart. It's like, okay, I'm being effective. Because you don't know, somebody might need what God has for you to do. And you not walking in it, or you're not doing it, they're not getting what they need. Somebody told me that once. So, as I stated in the title, let's use this time to say goodbye to 2024 and welcome 2025 ready to level up and walk in your purpose. Excuse me. According to Merriam-Webster, the definition of level up is to advance or improve oneself. Assistant Pastor Leonard Razor and Evangelist Loretta Razor have a ministry where they speak on this subject. I believe this may be an appropriate time for us to approach this topic, leveling up. As you are completing your self-assessment, consider including the 5 pillars of life. The 5 pillars of life are mind, body, spirit, relationships, and finances. So when you're doing your assessment, you can, I don't know if you audio or visual, I'm both. So I like to write things down. So I will write down mind, body, spirit, relationships, and finance. And you can, as you do your self-assessment, you can look for each pillar and say, okay, am I stimulating my mind? Am I growing? Am I learning? Am your body, are you taking care of yourself? If you eating healthy, are you moving your body? If you exercising, your spirit, what's your relationship with the Lord? Are you feeding yourself stuff that will inhibit or hurt the spirit? All of that, your relationship. Do you have healthy relationships? That might be the hardest one to do, because if you realize that you do not have healthy relationships, then you have to make some changes. Sometimes you might have to walk away. I've talked about how I've walked away from friendships. And sometimes that might be the most healthy thing to do. And it might be just you need to adjust your relationships. Like, okay, if you've been doing some things with certain friends and you decide that you want to level up in next year, you say, okay, I don't want to do those things. I want to, if you go to restaurants, all those eating all these crazy things, like, okay, you know what, I want to be healthy next year. So let me not go to fast food restaurants all the time, or let me not go to the donut shop, even though Roseland is the best. But you have to make some adjustments. And your finances, that's a big one. Even if you don't get involved with all these things like the stock market, or how are you with your finances? Do you spend a lot? Do you spend more than you take in? Are you a saver? That's something to think about. Do you pay your bills on time? Do you, what's the old saying, rob Peter to pay Paul? So I know a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck, but sometimes you have to take a step back and look and like, okay, I didn't need that, I didn't need that. There's a commercial, then every time I see this, I think, okay, that's not teaching people good. And the woman is looking in her closet and she's looking at her clothes and shoes, and she said, okay, that's gonna pay for that, and that's gonna pay for that. So she didn't need all of those things. If you have to go back and sell your belongings to pay your bills, or then maybe you need to take a step back and say, did I really need that? What's more important? What's more important? I hear someone tell me, oh, you need to go and don't pay your bills and go and buy this or that. And I told them, what's important to me was when I come home and I flick the switch, my light comes on. Or if I pick up my phone, I get a dial tone. Sister Jackie, I agree. We have to become more disciplined in our walk with Christ, include finances, relations. Exactly. We have to be more disciplined. But sometimes people don't even see where they are. They don't see how far they've gotten, or if they are a good steward. Because everyone knows, okay, be a good steward of your finances, but are you a good steward of everything God gave you? He gave you your life. Are you a good steward of your life? Have you been living purposely? Have you been helping? Have you been living an honorable life? Your body, have you been taking care of the body that He gave you? Do you get the rest that you need? Do you have, and this one I was very bad with, work-life balance. Excuse me. I did not have good work-life balance, and if I knew then what I know now, I would have taken the time to go on vacations. I would not be working 12-plus-hour days every day, because I said if I didn't have church or school to go to, I didn't leave till after 8:30 or 9 or maybe even later sometimes. Did I complete my work? No. It was just too much. But so I could have still left at a good time, because if you get home at 8, 9, 10 o'clock, what life do you have? You don't. You're just getting ready for the next day. And it was wash, rinse, repeat. It was all of that. And you can check and see is how does your life stand in these pillars? Are you successful in all pillars, or do you fall short in any? Within these pillars, number one, are you satisfied how your life is? Or do you see room for improvement? Which do you want to see? You may have great relationships, and that's okay. You can check that off. Okay, my relationships are great. My finances are great. And not everybody is falling short. Some people realize it and they got it, or they are satisfied with it. Are you satisfied with it? That's the thing. Are you satisfied? Is God satisfied with it? Because you can say, okay, I go clubbing every weekend. I'm happy with that, but are you? Is God? Because at some point, it needs to make some adjustments within yourself. So the Bible states in Psalms 37 and 37, to mark the perfect man is not say that we are to be perfect. That was something that I had to struggle with, because I was trying to, to be the perfect so that God can be pleased. But he does not expect that of you, because he knows that we are not. He knows everything about you. Psalms 139, 1-3. Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I get up. You understand my thought from far away. You scrutinize my path and my lying down, and are acquainted with all my ways. So, what's it say? You can fool some people, but you can never fool God, because he knows everything there is to know about you. So, instead of trying to skirt through this life, live it, enjoy it. As you go through the pillars of life and compare to your life, which area do you find that you need or want to make a change? What changes can you implement in your life? Are you satisfied, everything? And if you can go through the 5 and say, okay, there's only maybe 1 or 2. Good morning, Evangelist Sibby. Welcome. So, if you can check off out of the 5, you can check off, okay, maybe there's 1 or 2 that I need to work on. That is amazing. But there are some people who might need to make adjustments in all 5. I don't mean that you may have to completely, dismantle your life, but, and nothing's going to happen overnight, nothing. And it's just growing. And sometimes when you see, or I lack, or I can come up in this area, that area, you don't have to bash yourself, because you didn't know. As you grow and you learn, you grow more. Because that's what, this is. Life is the guide to leveling up. Life is a journey consisting of many twists and turns. Life is not linear. It's not a straight line. It's twists, turns, up, down, up, down. Those is like a roller coaster. You might get dizzy like you're doing a roller coaster. But you just have to keep going. If you see, okay, I do lack in this, or not lack, or I need to make some adjustments. Sister Jack, yes. People pleasing, yes, that is something that's I suffer from. But as you learn and see that you're not helping yourself, because There are times when, Oprah says something, and I don't quote her with a lot of things that she's done or says, only a couple of things that I quote, and she says, no is a complete sentence. I have a sister. She will say no, and that's the end of the subject. She don't explain herself. She will say no and just keep it moving, and we're not in this discussion anymore. And if you say something, oh, we were done with that. So, yeah, that's something that you can make an adjustment. When she does that, when she was and I was younger, I marveled at it because I wanted to do that. Because sometimes you don't have to say, well, it's no because X, Y, Z, or, good morning, Evangelist Wiley. So, yeah, so it would be, because it's all about being the best that you can be, not only for God and his people, or the kingdom, but for yourself. Because if you, even something that's not simple, that's major, even something like that is within yourself. If you're saying yes and your heart is saying no, there's a battle going on inside of you. And it's not, you're going to be uncomfortable. They're not, because I've learned that people will be, they will take as much as you give them and will not be ashamed and not worry about it, because if you're giving it to them, they're going to just keep taking it. Excuse me. Because, like I said, life is a journey. You learn. You're not going to win all the time. And when you fall down, just like as a baby learning to walk, how many times do they fall before they get it? And I love their tenacity. They just keep on trying. They just keep on trying. And sometimes they'll just get up and be determined and do it. They love kids, so if they see a kid and they want to get involved or get near them, that will be their motivation. So just keep on trying. You're not going to succeed in all things. You're not going to succeed at first. You just have to. That's why I like to write things down. Say, okay, I'm a list person. I'm a list person. I will make lists on top of lists, and I have addendums to my list. And sadly, sometimes I have addendums to my addendums. That's me. But that's how I work for me. I need to see it sometimes, especially if I'm working the numbers, paying my bills. I work everything down. And I can say, okay, I can see this. And it's really good for yourself when you write these down. You can write out all the 5 pillars, and you write down where you need to make some changes for yourself, because we are talking about yourself, not everybody else. They have to take care of their own issues or desires or whatever. But when you can say, okay, I've met that, I've done that, I achieved that, that feels so good. And if your finances say, okay, even if it's just, I want to save $5. If all you can spare is $5 out of your check, or $10, save it, that is a good thing, because think about yesterday, you didn't save $5. You spent that. If you had $1 left, you would spend that dollar. But if you start saving that $1 or $5, and then you see the numbers start going up, imagine what that make you feel, how that make you feel. As you embark on leveling up, consider starting at the beginning, okay? Like I said, you do a self-assessment. Do you have any unforgiveness in your heart? Even unforgiveness to yourself. Yes, that's the thing. You might not forgive yourself for things that you've done, or saying yes when you really wanted to say no. And you can feel resentment sometimes if you said yes and really wanted to say no, and you feel, because think about my job. I told you, we just keep piling stuff on and keep piling stuff on. And at some point you have to say, look, I don't even have enough time to complete what I need to complete. I had a coworker come in my office one day and says, this job is undoable. And I had to ask him, when did you figure that out? Because it's not like, you have a job, and I've had jobs where at the end of the day you can clean your desk off and you put everything where it belongs and leave everything nice and neat. Not with that job. When that time is time for me to leave, I put my pen down where I was and just leave everything is, because when I come back, I got to start from where I left off, because it's never ending. And you have to be very disciplined, especially in times like that, to take care of you, because if you get sick, if you run yourself down, you burn out. And yes, I did. I can't tell you how many times I burnt out. And that's not a good place for you. You're not productive if you're burnt out. What good are you to your job? What good are you to yourself if you are burnt out? Because that takes you further down from where you are, even at your basic. Psalms 51:10, the King James Version, is, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me." Here are some Bible verses about forgiveness. And like we stated, forgiveness is not a one-time thing. You might have to do it multiple times, and the enemy will bring something back on you, and you will feel it in yourself and like, okay, you know what? I forgive you. You have to say it. Do not judge. Luke 6:37. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Matthew 6:14. For if you give other people when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. Colossians 3:13. Bear with each other and forgive one another. If any of you has a grievance against someone, forgive as the Lord forgave you. Ephesians 4:32. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other just as in Christ God forgave you. There are so many scriptures on forgiveness, because that is an important thing, because how effective are you if you're holding unforgiveness in your heart? And sometimes you have to take a check, because I remember, I always say I tell the truth on myself. I would feel like, okay, I need to, if this person would argue, just work my nerves. And I would talk to my friend, and she would say, okay, you know what? I know. So I would have to go to God. It's like, Lord, help me to forgive this person. Because I don't even think they realize how they were. And maybe they did, because that person is not like that anymore. So maybe, good morning, Mother Reese. There's something that they need to, I miss you here with your insight. Sometimes you have to, because people can get to you. People can get on your nerves. But it's how you take it, because they're going to be who they're going to be. People are going to be who they are. And it's all about how you deal with it, or deal with them, or handle it. Because they're going to be them, and you have to say, you know what, I'm not going to let this person or whatever get to me. Forgiveness is an act of letting go of resentment and other painful feelings towards someone who has wronged you. And sometimes I will do a blanket, forgiveness, or just, and it may not stir back up, but I will just want to do it because I wanted my heart to be clear and clean and healthy and whole. I do it for me, not for them. And a lot of people, I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and he was holding so much unforgiveness in him towards someone. And I told, it's not about them, because they're going to be who they're going to be. It's about you. Because if you sit in this unforgiveness, if you have resentment in you, if you lead them into, and they've said they hate this person, if you allow someone to take you there, first of all, you don't give anyone permission to take you to that place, because that's not a good place to be. And second, you're giving them power. You're giving power to someone else over you, and that's not a good thing. only one that you give power to is God. Because if you give it to anybody else, they're going to run with it, and you're not going to be good in this. You're not going to, it's not going to end well for you. So what do you all think? Give me what you think about unforgiveness or forgiveness and letting it go. And forgiveness, like I said, is not a one-time occurrence, contrary to what people think. They may think, okay, I just say, Lord, I forgive them. But see, the enemy got a way of just putting things, and I never understood how you see these people, and that's what I'm doing, these people who are filled with so much hate and rage. How do you have peace? Do they even have peace? And that is another thing, Evangelist Wiley. There are times when I realize that I need just as much forgiveness as others need. Yes, forgive yourself. Because you might have done something like with Sister Jackie. You might have said yes when you wanted to say no, and you're like, you know what? I forgive you. And you can beat yourself up and say, why did I do that? Why did I say that? Why didn't I be honest with myself, or just say, I can't do it, or it does help you. So it's all about making you whole, making you the best you that you can be. And that's all that's important, because God made you for a reason. You're here for a reason. Every baby does not survive. You go through life, things happen. You're still here for a reason. What is that reason? So you need to make you the best that you can be so that God can get your purpose, because you never know. You never know. Think of Harriet Tubman. Had she not survived, what would happen to all those people that she helped? What would have happened to them if she wasn't in that place? What would happen if she just said, you know what, I'm just going to take care of me. I'm going to get over this border and just take care of me and not turn around and extend her hand. This is a selfless life that God wants us to live. But he also wants you to take care of you. So he's going to take care of you. So, yeah. You will yourself include yourself. Do you do right by you? Because like I said earlier, I worked so that I burnt out. I don't know how many times I burnt out. I don't know. I had one supervisor I went to, and I told her, look, I'm burning out. I'm burnt out. And she took it seriously, and I appreciated that. And she says, okay, you know what? Just take Fridays off. Every Friday until you start feeling better. It worked. That's what she did for me. Somebody else, she did something else. But why did I allow myself to be pushed to that limit? That wasn't good for me. What good am I to not only myself, but to the kingdom of God, to all the things that I was involved in, even to my job? What good am I? How effective am I if I push myself beyond even my limit physically? You might have health issues. I have asthma. Stress is not good for that. Take care of yourself physically. When you take care of your physically, and that's eating right, moving yourself, your mind, stimulating yourself with the right things, and be careful what you're taking in, because some things can affect you when you don't even realize it. It'll come into your mind. You're thinking, wow, where did I think that? Oh, that was a movie I saw, or that was a song I heard, or that was a lot of things affect you that you don't even realize affect you. Like I said, oftentimes you might have to go and forgive to that same person multiple times, because it's really funny. You would just say, okay, you know what? I forgive. I forgive this. I forgive this person. I let it go. But that enemy will come back and throw it right at you and think it's going to trip you up. But the best thing you can do is say, you know what? I forgive them. Even if you have to do it in your daily prayer, letting it all go. Because just think about, it's just all that is stuck on you. How can you carry that load of all of this resentment? And like I said, I don't understand how these people are able to function, because to carry that much hate and rage, you have to keep stirring it up. You have to keep stirring it up. How do you rest at night? Do you let it go at night and pick it back up in the morning? You're like, okay, where are my keys? Where's my hate? Where's my rage? Where's my, unforgiveness? Do you pick it up and stick it in your pocket before you leave the house? How do you sit among your family on a quiet day, a rainy day, or a snowy day? How do you even enjoy the basics of life when you just filled with so much hate and rage and unforgiveness? Because these 5 pillars are just a guide to help you be the best for you, the best person that you can be. Not, be like this person or be like that person, because God made you. God made Kendra Wiley. God made Carolyn Reese. He didn't make you to be anybody else. Because if you're being somebody else, then when are you going to be the person that God made? So, Habakkuk 2:2. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain. What is your vision for 2025? For yourself. As you write the vision you want for your level up life, consider the 5 pillars again: mind, body, spirit, relationships, and finance. Use that as your guide. You might be good at 3 of the 5. You might be, okay, these 3 I got, so let me concentrate on these 2. Or you might want to see, okay, I fall just a little bit short in, maybe all of them or one of them. If you just got one, God bless you. But it's okay if you have to work on all 5, because you might not have thought about it. You might have not seen it in a different way, in this way. Like, okay, it's not about, this keeping up with the Joneses. They let them do them. So walk on the path that you take. And I used to say that, I made my own footprints in the snow. And I owned it. That I look back and thank you, Jesus, because some of those times I know those footprints that was in the snow was not mine. God was carrying me, and I appreciated that, because things, do get hard, and you need a little help, and He's there for you. But what can you do to make you, like we said, the best that you can be? Because we're saying goodbye to 2024. I know one year, it was a horrible year, and I used to make calendars. On the last day of that year, I took that calendar and tore it up in little bitty pieces. Like, okay, I am done with this year. I tossed it, and that felt so good to just shred that year symbolically and mentally. I shred it. It's like, okay, I'm done with that year. That was a horrible year. I'm looking forward to this next one. What do you see this next year to be for you? Assess each pillar and decide, like I said, what changes do you want to make? Where do you want to be? Where do you see yourself? You might not need a full overhaul for all 5 pillars. Where do you want your life to be? How do you want your life to be? Use this time as you say goodbye to this year. Use this time to see, okay, what do I want my life to look like? What do I want? How I want this? Okay, my finances were a little iffy, so I need to work on that. It's always something to work on for me. I'm not a big spender. I'm not, and that's a good thing. I've been cheap. They say frugal. Don't matter. Semantics. Your life is a journey, and it's it's not about the destination. Contrary to law, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey. It's all about the journey. The twists, the turns, the loops, the up, the downs. That's just about. That's life. Because when we have a mind to, I'm going to get to that place. So you're so focused on that place that you're missing all of that in between. You're missing all of this because you just focus on this spot right here. You're not looking at this, and this. It might be some amazing times happening within that time, but you're so focused on that spot right there that you're not seeing the process. You're not seeing each day, each step, and enjoying it because you're missing out. It's like you checked out because all I'm seeing is that spot right there. I want to get there. I'm thinking of this time next year, where I want to be this time next year, but I'm not enjoying each moment, each step, even the bad times, the good times. When you hit that bad spot, I'm like, okay, you know what? I hit a bad spot. How can I tweak this? What can I do to tweak this so that I won't hit this spot again, or to make it better for me, for my family? Because you're not on this earth by yourself. Make connections. Relationships are part of the 5 pillars. Like I say, you might be good in so many of them. What's your relationships like? Do you have healthy relationships? I'll be honest, when I took that class and I went through it, I realized that I had some very unhealthy relationships. And I spoke to the people who were in this healthy, and I said, you know what, I might need to, make some adjustments and let some people go. And someone asked me, well, then, is that bad? I said, well, what would I have lost if I let some people go? It was not a healthy relationship. It was not a good relationship. So am I hurting myself, or I'm helping myself by, making some adjustments? Because you might have some people in your life who don't see your journey, who might be jealous or envious and don't want you to achieve the things that your goals. You might say, okay, I want to reach this, I want to hit this, I want to do this, and you might have somebody who's want to sabotage it. That's not a healthy relationship. So how do you do that? Do you put them out of your life, or do you just, shift in your mind, like, this is not an important person? Maybe you help them get over that within themselves. Maybe they don't see that they're toxic. But there are some toxic people out here for you. And it's not good to have them in your life. Like I say, this is your journey. It's a journey. It's a process. And it will change as you achieve your goals. When you write things down, like I said, this is what I do. When you write things down, it's like, okay, because it feels good when you can check something off, like, oh, I achieved that. Oh, wow, I've done that. I've done that. And that feels good when you can cross it out. It's like, that's one less. There's one less. You can have a whole sheet like, oh, glory. But don't do that many. No. Give yourself a limit. Some say 3, some say, 5, 7, whatever works for you. Because if you write so many things that you want to do, that might overwhelm you. Like, oh my God, that is just too much. So make it 3. And because when you achieve those, it feels good to make a new list. It feels good to, like, okay, I did this. Okay, now where else? Where do I want to go? Because once you make your list and you hit them all in each pillar, okay, where are you? Assess where you are. Okay, what's my next step? What's my next goal? Where do I want to go from this spot? Because I'm not at that spot anymore. I'm here. So where do I go from here to get to this next step? Because all the way over there, that's my journey. That's my goal. Um, but you're enjoying each. Every spring, I used to say, oh, this summer I'm going to enjoy. I'm going to stop and smell the roses. I'm going to enjoy, do things in the summer. And every fall, I say, I didn't do it this year, but next year I'm not going to be so bogged down with work that next year I'm going to do it. Next year I'm going to enjoy going out in the summer, doing things, enjoying the weather. Because, full disclosure, me and Heat, we don't get along, but, I have to talk myself through the summer like the little engine that could. Kathy, you can make it. You can make it. It's not going to be in the 90s for a long time. You can get through this. But me and air conditioner are very best friends. That's all I'm going to say. Because, you have all these twists, you have these turns. Just basic, just face it. Sometimes, however, life be lifing. And you may not have control over some twists and turns. Some things you can get hit with something that will take you off that road that you have to deal with. You might have to put your goals, your list aside and deal with things. You might have an illness that you have to deal with. You might have a loss that you have to face and deal with. Things happen. Things happen that you have no control over, that you have to stop and think. What do you all think about this? Right? Good morning. So, yeah, because things happen. Life happens. Life happens that you have no control over. I say I control me, but I don't have full control over me. Things happen. I didn't have control over that car that ran that stop sign. You can do everything right, and somebody make a wrong decision can throw you off your path. And you have to deal with that. Like, okay, these other things are not important right now because I got to take care of this. And also, like I said, once you in this process, excuse me, once you're in this process and you're making your list and you reach these goals and you reach this section, readjust it. Like, okay, I've reached this milestone. It's like, okay, I'm making the new list, and I can adjust from where I am at that spot, because we move from way back where, so we're here. Like, where do I go from here? How do I get from this point? Where do I want to go to next? What do I have to do to reach my next point? You're going to always need to adjust it, because as you grow, your list's going to change. As you meet your goals, things going to change. So you have to adjust it. It is continual, always adjusting, a lifelong adjusting. It's not saying, okay, when I hit this, because, God help you, you're going to be on this earth, excuse me, for a long time. So you have a lifelong, this is a lifelong. You want to make changes in your life and goals in your life that will benefit you in your life and your purpose, to walk in your purpose. What do you think? You want to expound? That's a good point. That's good. Brother Thaddeus said that, you have to do everything on purpose. Everything, your movement, he said you have to pray on purpose. You have to move on purpose. You have to do everything on purpose. Because it's not happenstance. Everything is not happenstance. You have to be strategic. You have to set your goals. You have to determine where is it you want to go, what it is you want to be, what do you want to do. If you want to say, okay, when you're trying to decide what career you want to go into, then you have to adjust your steps to reach that goal. You want to be a nurse, you want to be a doctor, you want to be a psychologist, you want to be an engineer. You have to adjust and set goals for yourself to reach those levels. Because you have undergrad, and if you want to go to grad school, if you want to go continue, or if you just want a trade, that's not adjust, because a lot of trades are good. Yeah. One day I had a thought, and I was looking around, and when you're little, like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? You have all these thoughts. I want to be this, and this. And I was looking around and just thought, there are a lot of jobs out here, and there are people in those jobs. There's somebody putting the signs up. You see the billboards, but there's somebody's doing these billboards. I can't do it because I'm not climbing, no. But there's somebody's doing all these jobs that you never thought about. So it takes everybody to do, because when you're building a car, when you go to the plants, everybody is not working on the engine. Somebody is doing every part of that car so that when you get to the end, there's a car. But in the beginning, these are just a bunch of pieces. Have you ever put together something? When I think it was about 14, my father bought me an entertainment center. And he bought it in my house, and he put it on the floor, and he left. And I looked at the boxes, I was like, okay. Okay, so I've never done that before, but I took everything out, and it was like 5,000 pieces. I'm like, okay, now, how do you do this? But I did it. I got that paper and read it 50, got that instructions and read the instructions over and over, and I didn't have a screwdriver, so I had a butter knife. And I worked with what I had, and I put that together. And I was so proud of myself that I put that thing together. It had place for your record player, your TV, and everything else. And I did that. Never done it before, but that felt so good. But if you think about it, this is the body of Christ. There's somebody for this, everything. Everybody's not a prophet. Everybody's not a preacher. Everybody's not, an intercessor. You just might be, good at praying, or good at encouragement, or good at wherever God uses you. You might have a hand in somebody else's work. That doesn't mean that what you're doing is not significant. Because, you might not have a major role in his life, but your child might be. Your child might be, the one to cure cancer, or your grandchild. You don't know. Or that kid that's, needs some encouragement, and you encourage them. You don't know where that person is going to end up. So your role when you walk this, when you become the best that you can be, not be like anyone else. How to level up? Any ideas? Are you adverse to change? That was my issue. I'm not going to change because you know what you know. And sometimes it's hard to put yourself in a situation where you're surrounded by things that you don't know. You have no control. And I am very strict on controlling my situation, my life. Does it always go with God? Because sometimes, he got the final say. So you have to decide what leveling up looks like to you. Everybody don't want the same thing. You got people that, I want to be well-known, I want to be popular. That's not me. That's not, what works for you. What is your reason for leveling up? To meet the 5 pillars? Evangelist Wiley says we have to learn to be confident in where God wants us to be and not what we want or what others want for us. That is true. Because the goal is to be the best that you can be and to walk in your purpose. That is the goal. Because if you're not in a place, what if you don't do the work that you need to do? God can tell you, okay, this is what needs to happen as you're going through your self-assessment and you working with God. But you don't put yourself out. But there's a work that he needs you to do, and you're not there. Does that work not get done? Does that person that needs whatever you have to offer? Because you don't know what's in you. God knows what's in you. You might have low self-esteem, but you not see yourself as worthy or have all of this. Evangelist Sibby, you have to be willing to make changes, as you said. That's what stops us. We are afraid of change. Some people are afraid of change. And Evangelist Kelly, our desire to go higher should be to build the kingdom. Yes. If everyone is walking in their purpose, just imagine what can be done. Like I say, everyone is not the same. You got people who like to get on social media and put their face up. That's not me. I'm a behind-the-scenes person. I will build you up. Go do it. If that's what you want, God bless you. Do it. That is wonderful. Do it. Yours is unique. Your vision, your process, your purpose is unique. It's you, because God knows you. Choose which life pillars, like I said, that you want to make some changes in. It may not be every one. You might just have one of the pillars that you need to make changes. And if that's all it is, God bless you. But, keep track of your progress. Make adjustments as needed, because once you start meeting these and you can say, okay, I can check this off, I can check this off, I check this off, great, And practice gratitude. Be grateful, be thankful. And above all, seek God. If you ever want a partner, he will be the best one to help you go through this, through life. Because it is your life. God did not make, and this is something I had to learn for myself, God did not make this big, beautiful world for us to be stuck in a little bitty box. No. Do you live your life, the one that God has planned? What is right for you? Because you are the only you that's here. When I was in high school, for freshman year's orientation, there were 2 Kathy Callahans. we were called, they called us to go to division. We got there, I found out I was the one that was called. So, but are we the same person? No. We had different walks, different goals. So, do what's right for you and what God has for you. Because we all have a work in this kingdom, and we have to walk in our purpose. God bless you, and have a blessed day.